Well, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Great. It is a pleasure to speak with you this morning. I see a lot of familiar faces and some new faces. So, hello. Um, my name is Fugan. Hi. um, and it's really an honor to talk to you. I'm joining you from Cape Cod, from Hyannis Zendo on Cape Cod, more specifically. And we are an affiliate practice center. We've been sitting out here about 15 years already. And we're located right in the heart of Cape Cod, in the town village of Hyannis. And this is really the most beautiful time on the Cape for those of you who have been out here. And I see many people who have come and visited us, and also I'm sure others have come. You know, the beaches are now empty um, of people anyway, and full of bird life and other wildlife. The trees are bare, and out the window here we can now see the marsh clearly, and beyond that, the ocean. And it's spectacular. It really is. And a few days ago, Seijin, who practices out here and is the co-founder of the Zendo, we were visiting a beach on the bay side, the other side of the Cape, and we came across the body of a dolphin who had been stranded not long before we found her, although clearly this dolphin was dead and was starting to be consumed by the animals, the birds on the beach. And yet it was beautiful. It was just this amazing being. The colors and her skin was, shiny and black on top with a gray stripe and a white stripe, and it looked like waves. It looked like it was flowing, even though she was just stranded there on the beach. And the way these dolphins die, or I think all of the cetaceans, when they get stranded, they sometimes get dehydrated, and the weight of their body on land crushes their organs, being out of water. And sometimes they can even drown, oddly enough. And so it's a difficult way to go for a dolphin. And there was beauty, and also, we felt this deep well of sadness for this great creature, who has now become food for the beach. And the International Fund for Animal Welfare, IFAW, is a nonprofit that does a lot of work out here with strandings, turtles and dolphins and other sea animals. And usually they count about 65 dolphin strandings a year on the Cape. And we are one of the highest stranding places in the world. And this year there's been over 310 strandings, so more than 5 times the normal amount. And in July there was a massive stranding with 146 dolphins, all in the span of a few days. And so, of course, the question comes up, why are there so many dolphins being stranded on our beaches this year? And, people say, oh, the fish are closer to shore and the dolphins are following the fish, and they get confused on the bay side of the Cape. It's kind of this limited area, and they get confused by the tides, and there's sandbars, and so that's one explanation. But the fish being closer to shore is an indication that their feeding patterns are changes. And so it's been an extraordinarily beautiful fall, but also an extremely warm one out here, disturbingly warm. And this is a year, as you know, on track to be the hottest year on record, capping off the warmest decade on record. And we're in the midst of a drought. And the oceans around the Cape are warming. People say 3 times as fast as some of the other oceans. And so it's not a stretch to imagine that these dolphin strandings are connected to climate change, even though some people might say, oh, it's just normal fluctuation. It does not seem normal. And I see this as our karma manifesting, and we have to carry this karma around with us. This dolphin, I'm carrying her around with me, recognizing that that's part of our work as humans, that we've created this karma, and maybe our work is to work with that karma and see how we can move forward. And this election, of course, that happened almost 2 weeks ago is a manifestation of our karma on a national level. And we've had this fear and anger as a national diet for some time. And a lot of us are feeling despair and fear about the suffering to come, the suffering that's here. And so people come to Hyannis Zendo and to Village Zendo and New Paltz Zendo and Zen in general to practice and find some ease in the midst of this suffering. And our zazen offers us refuge. Right? Breathing in, we calm our bodies. And breathing out, we feel ease. Dogen calls zazen the Dharma gate of peace and comfort in the Fugan Sensei. Right? The Dharma gate of peace and comfort. And yet, even as we find refuge in our zazen and in our communities that support us, we're also deeply aware of this suffering. Suffering in ourselves, in our fears, our unease, and the world suffering. Right? These are not two. The suffering that we feel is the suffering in the world, and also the ease of zazen. But they can feel at odds. And so today I want to explore a koan that I find helpful in working with these aspects of our practice. And it's San Chang's golden fish who has passed through the net. And it appears in a number of koan collections. San Chang asks Sui Feng, I wonder, what does the golden fish who has passed through the net use for food? Feng said, when you come out of the net, I'll tell you. Shang said, the teacher of 1,500 people and you don't even know what to say? Feng said, my affairs as abbot are many and complicated. So this golden fish, or sometimes called the golden scaled fish, it symbolizes our realized selves. Right? And the metaphor comes from a carp who struggles upstream and leaps up a grand waterfall of the Dragon's Gate. And this great effort to leap up is the effort of our practice, our zazen. And this leap is the freedom of seeing the world clearly. And here on the Cape, we don't have carp, but we did go visit the herring run last spring and watch these herring make their way up from the ocean to their spawning grounds. And it was a joyful occasion for the people watching, but it looked like it more so for the fish. They were leaping in this free action, just jumping free. And this action of leaping clear resonates in the language of our practice. Leaping in the air, leaping free, leaping clear for us of abundance and lack. And so San Sheng is asking about someone who has realized their true nature. What do they do? And we might say, well, in freedom, one is residing in the absolute, right? Free from all obstacles. What need is there for food? Nothing to do, nothing to get done. Everything complete. But Sheng is asking in freedom, then what? What do you do? Right? And how do you do it? And so Sui Feng turns the question back on him. He says, when you get out of the net, I'll tell you. And on one level, he's saying, you're wondering about what the golden fish does for food. What an enlightened person does, that's just speculation. Right? We can't get there through words and speech, so stop wasting your breath. And in the koan, this is a skillful move. It's an exchange between these two adepts. And for us, or for me anyway, it seems to point us right back to our practice. Feng asks us to look at what is arising for us in this moment, and how are we responding to it? Or when this net is trapping us, right, like San Sheng trapped in this idea, how are we reacting? And the net that he's talking about is the net that binds us to our delusions. Right? When we're controlled and led about by our habits of mind, our habits of body, we are trapped in this net. It's our karmic debt that operates in our lives. It's karma that we inherit from our families and communities. It shapes how we understand the world. If I don't feel listened to by the people around me, by the society, right, the values that I was raised with and that I'm bombarded with in the media that I swim in, this can make me act in a certain way. Right? If my needs aren't being addressed, this undigested karma can cause me to lash out. And our national karma is especially pronounced now. Right? It's charging this net for all of us. And the conversations and thinking center on right and wrong, me and you, us and them. Right? So how do we move forward from there? Our practice is to see the net. Right? We might think when we come to Zen that our thinking is going to disappear. And I had a conversation yesterday with one of our members who's been practicing a long time and was complaining, but my thinking is still happening. Thinking. And in our zazen, we watch the thoughts arise. Our habits of mind appear and disappear. Like clouds in the sky. And as we practice, we let go of the stories. We unclench the mind fist. Like in Uchiyama Roshi's book, Opening the Hand of Thought. It's a beautiful analogy. Right? Sitting, we become familiar with the monkey mind so that we're not dragged around. Thoughts arise and vanish. Take a breath and relax. And so the net does not disappear for the golden fish, but she passes freely through it, again and again. Daido Roshi says, the golden scaled fish is inherently free in every way when it knows it is in the net. When it knows it is in the net. San Sheng asks, what does the golden fish use for food? Right, we're in this moment that calls for action, really does, but action not driven by our karma, not driven by fears and anger. In our precept study group here yesterday, we talked about the 8th precept, not sparing the Dharma assets, right? Or using all the ingredients of my life, right? This is the precept of not being stingy. And stingy is such a good word for it, right? It sounds so tight and small and curled in, and that's what it feels like. right? That's how it feels. And so we explored the many ways that we cling to the things and ideas about myself and others. And that act of loosening, that act of looking, I should say, together gave us space, a loosening. And Dogen, commenting on the eighth precepts, tells us that the one realization is manifest in the 10,000 things and 100 grasses. Right? In that looking, in that knowing the net, we see the clarity in the 100 grasses, in the dharmas of the world. Right? And it manifests through continuous practice, day after day. Not sparing the Dharma assets means, from the beginning, as Dogen says, there is no stinginess at all. Right? This is generosity. The first of the six paramitas, the perfections of a bodhisattva. Generosity is the mind that nurtures compassion and caring, right? For the self, for others, right? For the Sangha, for the nation. And this is dana, giving. Right? It's encountering abundance and sharing it and sharing in it. And so Buddhism articulates four categories of dana: material giving, giving things, giving protection, sharing the Dharma, and the gift of non-fear, sharing non-fear. And this last one, isn't the absence of fear. It's rather not being carried away by our fear. I think that's crucial, right? We can acknowledge fear. You know, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family, my loved ones? What about those vulnerable ones in our communities? Right? That fear can arise, and we don't need to be led around by the nose. Right? It's a gift to acknowledge it, to know the net. San Chang asked Sui Fang, "You're the teacher of 1,500 monks, yet you can't offer a turning word for me?" And Fang said, "The affairs of the abbot are many. The affairs of the abbot are many." Right? This is generosity too. How generous Sui Fang is. Right? When Dongshan, the great ancestor in our Soto school, asked his teacher, Yunyan, "How can I describe your teachings?" Yunyan said, "Just this is it." Right? And later on, Dongshan was crossing a stream and he looked down and saw his reflection. And he awakened to Yunyan's meaning and composed a verse with the line, "Everywhere I meet it. Everywhere I meet it." So Sui Fang clarifies this for Sangshan and for us, right? In his affairs in the daily world of being the abbot, managing the temple, the maintenance, the finances, schedules, visitors, disputes, all this stuff. Just this is it. And Sueto has a verse on the koan. "The golden fish who has passed through the net, stop saying he tarries in the water. He shakes the heavens and sweeps the earth. He flourishes his mane and wags his tail." Right? Wagging his tail, this fish muddies the water, kicks up all the dirt. This is the same as the sacred tortoise who sweeps away her tracks but leaves traces with her tail. That means our practice is not for some pristine state separate from this world. Right? And that's kind of the most dangerous sickness in Zen. The practice, the clarity of our practice is not quiescent. The golden fish responds to the world with the most vigorous action. This leaping freely, a fish leaping freely. This complex, beautiful and disturbing world is the net. And this net is our food. Right? Today it's cleaning up the Zendo grounds and giving a talk. Tomorrow it might be showing up to support immigrant communities being targeted by the police. And then you might open the Zendo and light the incense. Right? This golden fish manifests in the 10,000 things of our lives. Just this is it. Linji said, "Take hold of him who is now listening to the Dharma. He has neither form nor shape, neither root nor trunk, nor does he have a dwelling place. She is as lively as a fish jumping in the water and performs her function in response to all situations." All right, what great encouragement for us. All right, practice hard, and from that space, leap, wag your tail, and kick up the mud with total abandon. This is how we practice. So thank you for your practice.